We did it, guys. We made it. The time has come for our plus 10 damage. Hey, what's up, guys? How are we doing? So, you might have seen Riot Frox's Twitter post detailing the upcoming changes to specific champs in patch 13.8. And among them was our very own bug boy Kha'Zix with a whopping plus 10 base damage on his Q, Taste Their Fear. Now, at first, I wasn't even going to make a video on this, seeing as how small this change is, but I thought I would do my best to kind of explain how such a small ass damage buff could possibly benefit Kha'Zix, if at all. So, when we look at plus 10 on an ability, it really doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, it's laughable, honestly. It's very clear they're being extremely careful with Kha'Zix because we all know how much of a monster he is in the lower elos. That being said, it's not totally useless, and hopefully I can explain why. So, when it comes to assassinations, right, and playing Kha'Zix as an assassin type champ, going in for kills, this is just not enough of a damage buff to warrant any meaningful change in this regard. In fact, it'll probably benefit Bruiser Kha'Zix more than Assassin Kha'Zix, most likely. You're still going to have to look for isolated opportunities like normal. You're still going to have to use your stealth like normal. You know, nothing in this regard is changing. Sure, I mean, plus 10 damage means you might get some clutch kills every now and then. So that's definitely going to add up in your games, but this is not really the focus point of the change, right? No. You might think, yeah, you know, great. It's just plus 10 damage, bro. Why are you making a whole video on this? It literally does nothing. Well, except it does do something, just not anything crazy. Alright, let me explain. Now, thanks to Kha'Zix's isolation passive, this change doesn't actually equate to just 10 extra damage. I mean, sure, that is the case for when you don't have isolation, but if you do have isolation, seeing as the damage of Q increases by 110% based on if the target is isolated, you're actually going to be getting an increase of around 21 damage per Q. What? No way, man. 21? Nah, mate. Come on, that's busted. Get out of here. What are we trying to break Kha'Zix or something? Like, what is this shit, man? Yeah, well, as funny as it is to laugh at these tiny damage changes, this change will no doubt make it ever so slightly easier for Kha'Zix to clear the jungle early on. Now, I tested a very brief clear on the PvE. I have around 200 ping on the PvE, so it's very difficult to optimize the clear properly, but Q on your first buff will deal 173 damage instead of 152 damage. What this means is on your first clear, isolated camps will take about half a Q faster to clear them. The transition from blue to Gromp and red to Krugs is gonna feel a lot better as you start dragging the camp backward, because since the camp is going to die slightly earlier, it means you can start kiting the camp back just a little bit earlier, thereby increasing your clear speed and overall efficiency in the early game ever so slightly. This in turn would hypothetically make it so your pathing is a lot cleaner and smoother, which is something I've been desiring for quite a long time on Kha'Zix, so although it's small, this change is quite welcome. And, you know, it is what it is. I do feel that later on into the game, this change really just won't matter. I'm expecting early fights to be more manageable, especially in isolation, because 21 damage on Q goes quite a long way early game when people don't have that much health. But this is just some mega ass copium. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, all in all, with the previous isolation buff, the R buff, and now this, I feel we're slowly getting to the point where Kha'Zix could start to come back out of his shell and just have a slightly easier time in this meta where he's currently not having a good time, like, at all. I'm kind of hoping they do another follow-up buff from this, unless, you know, this 10 damage is just going to completely break him. And I think if they really wanted to, they could very easily put Kha'Zix in a position where he thrives in game and he's back on the radar, even getting banned in some cases. Most likely just previous Q damage reverts would work because his Q has been nerfed a lot in the past. But to me, it's very, very clear that they want Kha'Zix to be a champ that is sort of under the radar and this is quite the copium take, but in my eyes, the fact that they're barely touching him is a sign of respect, knowing what the champ is capable of and understanding that he can become a nightmare to play against if he ends up being too strong. But yeah, that's kind of what I think about this buff for Kha'Zix. It's just a bit of a short video letting you guys know what I think. I'm optimistic and I hope things get better for the champ from this point on. Let me know what you guys think as well. I'm curious to know. I'm very excited to try the changes on live servers with good ping. Again, it won't be game changing, but it's always nice to have buffs. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate all the support recently. I'm trying to get to 100k subs, so, you know, if you're new and you like my stuff, feel free to sub. But yeah, that's about it. Catch you later for some more juicy Kha'Zix. Bye bye.